So in this first clip, I run up against a fraternity gang, and I saw a Praxis and an Ishtar and a Phantasm, and I think the Ishtar is PvE fit. And I looked at the kill board for the Praxis, so I wasn't particularly scared of that Praxis. And I think I can melt the Phantasm real fast. I do melt the Phantasm real fast, but I get greedy on the Ishtar. And a Drekavac that I hadn't previously seen catches me, and I should have just took the Phantasm kill and gotten away. In these next couple clips, I was causing trouble in an ice storm over in Delve, and I run up against the Loki that's running the sites, and I figure that it's probably PvE fit, and it probably doesn't have a scram or a point, and I can probably get away if I can't break it, and it ends up that I can't break it, and I do just get away. They try to bait me with first the Hakade, it looks like, and I just kind of delete the Hakade. I don't even show that because it wasn't even anything. The Hakade just like immediately died. And then after the Hakade, a Gnosis that leads to a really interesting engagement where I knew the Gnosis was bait going into it, but I decided to take the bait because I thought I could burn the Gnosis down before the Loki arrives and the two of them kill me, and I do. I get out with just a little bit of hull left, and it was really exciting for me. And right after I warp out, somebody else had jumped into the system completely unrelated to me and tackled the Loki, and I'm technically on the Loki's lost mail that I didn't directly cause, so that was just a giant win for my skill boards on that day. The next clip, I get away from a couple people who chased me away from a gate and warp to the outside of an ESS and start burning off. And only one of the gang that chased me away, the Diemos, warps to the ESS and chases me down, and we have a fight once it catches me. The ESS is really useful for trying to get fights with people or separate fleets because it's a dead space grid. People can't warp directly to other people, and they can't warp on grid. So the inclusion of the ESS really allows solo PvPers, even if you're not going inside the ESS. It allows solo PvPers to do some things that they couldn't otherwise do in null security space. A lot of the stuff that I always liked about low security PvP can now be done in null. Actual one-on-one fights are really, really nice to get. So I see a Gnosis and a Hurricane camping a bubble after descanning a gate by warping to a Celestial by it before warping directly to it. If I had warped directly to it, I would have just landed in the bubble and been murdered by the two of them, but I come into the side at a pretty long range from them and play some games before deciding to come in, and I make some mistakes, but I'll let you see how that turns out. I should have changed from conflag to multi-frequency at this point, just because conflag has the tracking penalty and I wasn't really hitting it very well anymore. I got over aggressive and a little careless and got scrammed by the afterburning Hurricane, but thankfully the Hurricane has absolute garbage capacitor and I was able to mute it off of me and leave. So there was really no reason for me to get scrammed like that. Here I am burning off an ESS again. This isn't as exciting as maybe some of the other fights, but I have a couple of things to point out about it, or at least one thing to point out about it. So I'll let you watch this. And for a note, the slasher pilot seems to be the Diemos pilot from before, so they know of my ESS shenanigans. I felt that I was just too conservative here. I should have turned around and went deep on the Og Navy. I could have killed it. The Sacrilege wasn't going to catch me in a bit of time, so I should have went deep. I should have went hard on the Og Navy. Watch two Harbingers sit on top of one another and punch. I could have went about this a little better if I had paid better attention and noticed it was beams, but I won, so hey. Now, this is an example of a fight where I think that both sides did a lot of things right, and I'll just let you watch it. I had just seen the Orthrus and the Keres when I jumped into there, and I stayed on the wormhole because if I burned off the wormhole, the Orthrus could have jumped in and just kited me and did a lot of damage. But I stayed on the wormhole because you can jump through a wormhole with a combat timer, so either the Orthrus stays close to the wormhole, in which case I can do a lot of damage to it, or the Orthrus kites me, in which case I can jump back through the wormhole and leave. The Stratios came, and then they had the ability to have somebody close by and still let the Orthrus come in and kite. So they had somebody who could catch me if I jump back through the wormhole. Stratios still almost went down, but after the Stratios jumped, I should have jumped. Elite PvP. Here's some more ESS shenanigans. This one was intense. I really should have killed the Retribution and the Vedmak, but getting away was pretty big still. There's a few optimizations I could have made. I needed to stay calm and take my drugs and a few other things, but that was a really exciting engagement.